Noise department.
My parents actually met working for one of the big three distributors, but there was always alcohol around the house. And my first memory of trying it, I think I was 4, and I thought it was a glass of water on the counter, and it was small. It was obviously meant for someone small like me.
Yes.
So I took a sip, and then I cried and cried and cried because I had tried my first vodka,
Oh.
and it was horrible.
This is Thirst Trap, a beverage industry podcast. And I'm your host, Tracy Bradley. Today, I have my friend Caitlyn Holguin, whom I used to work with, and we've known each other for many, many years. And the reason I brought her in today is because if you listened to episode 1, you would know that I am very passionate about strong women in the beverage industry. I'm all about it. I'm here for it. If you're a strong woman in the beverage industry, let me know. You can come on the pod with us. But today we have Caitlyn with us. And I have to say, I am so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this, but talking about women in the industry is something I also feel very passionate about. So I'm here for it.
Well, I'm glad you are. I mean, I know it's weird, for me to reach out to friends and be like, do you want to come on my podcast? Everybody's like rolling eyes, like, oh God, like, what is she doing? But then they've listened and we kind of know what we're doing over here. So
yeah, it seems like a fun time. We get to drink some stuff. So
yeah, we get to try some things and talk about some things. And it's not a huge time suck either. It's just, 35 minutes and we're out.
Yeah.
Done and done.
Yep.
So what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in forever.
Just work. So I did get promoted recently. So I'm figuring that out because that's been a learning curve for sure.
And you're the first woman in this position, right?
Yes.
First woman in this position,
yes.
Should I say?
Yes, I am. So I'm customer development manager is my official title.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there was no woman before. And then my previous role there, I was the first and only woman still. So
it counts, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They did kind of like split it up a little bit. So it's 2 people now, but I'm handling the customer development side. So, But it has definitely been a lot to learn, like a lot of stuff I wasn't ready for, but I'm getting there.
But you're rolling with it.
I'm rolling with it. Yeah.
You just take it and you're like, okay, next challenge.
Yep.
So what else is going on, lady?
Well, I know we kind of talked about wanting to discuss the women experience in the industry, which I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about, but after thinking about it, I think a lot of women don't talk about it. And we got to a point where we're kind of getting there when like women are getting into the higher up positions. But once they get there, they just stop acting like anything ever happened to them and answering questions in a way that they talk around it, but they never actually acknowledge that they did face some sort of sexism or anything like that moving up in the world. So I wanted to share a couple experiences that I had just recently.
Do tell.
One thing that my company has been doing is really focusing on women in leadership, and they bring these guest speakers on, which is great. And I've learned a lot from them. But ultimately, every time the question comes up, how have you been affected by being a woman in a highly male-dominated industry? And it's always, oh, I don't feel like that ever affected me, or, I would never think that that's the reason something happened. And the best answer I ever heard was, well, if that's the reason, if that's why, how do I move past that? And I think that's great. Like, don't let it stop you, but acknowledge that it did happen.
Right.
And so, yeah, actually just recently in the last couple of years had 2 instances that I just really think speak to my overall experience. So the first one was when I was in sales still. So I was in an account when I was against all male competitors, of course. And I was beating them. Surprise, surprise. But one of them went to the management at the account and made a whole fuss and basically said, you can't get anything in this store unless you have a pair of tits. Yes. Yeah. So of course it became this whole big thing, but because he worked for another company, it was like, definitely like, stay away from her. Don't talk to her. But that was all I got from it. And it was swept under the rug. And again, I'm moving past it because I have to, but it was definitely like, you're not just insulting my work ethic, but you're insulting the management's decisions and saying that they're being affected somehow by my gender. And just ultimately didn't feel like that was handled the best way, but that has become a trend for the other experiences that I have had. So that was probably the worst. A lot of
That's
it's
terrible.
more like small things or like little things mentioned and stuff like that. The other one is when I got up into a higher role and I was dealing with more corporate level, I had this buyer that objectified me every time I saw him and would like look me up and down every time I walked into a room and make inappropriate comments. But because he was so high up and so important, I had to just kind of deal with it. But it got to a point where I was like, it's becoming hostile for me and I can't work like this anymore. And I brought it to our HR and they were like, stay away from him again. And we're going to try to figure this out. And what ultimately happened was one of our big bosses went to go have a conversation with him. And of course, he gaslit and said, oh, no, I don't think of her that way. She's so professional. She's great. I would never do that. And they thought it was just handled. And then the next time I saw him, he made another comment and it was like, I can't do this anymore. Well, he ended up getting fired for another reason. So thankfully for that, I didn't have to deal with him anymore.
Was it similar to your situation for his firing? The reason?
Uh, we don't actually know why. It was something pretty bad, apparently,
Mhm.
but that was definitely like a celebration for me because I just had to just keep on keeping on with it and deal with it. And uh, there was question about if I was able to stay in the role that I was in because I was dealing with that. Instead of let's face the actual problem, it was maybe we'll move her out of it.
Oh.
So that I just feel like none of that has kept me from doing my job, but it definitely has affected how I feel about women and men in the industry and how they handle these sort of things and pretend like it doesn't happen anymore.
But it
Oh, but it
does.
does. Yes.
It does. I mean, so it's funny that you mentioned that. So when I was in sales, my last sales position at the company that we worked together in, there was a high profile account at the airport. It's a smaller account at the airport, but I actually had to give the account away. I actually had to give all of the airport away at one point because of this one account. He refused to buy anything from me unless I would go out with him. And that's not okay, and I had to go to my then boss and tell him that, like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm just me.
And
I was
him. So
always
your
professional
boss
at
was a
work.
man,
Yeah.
so doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Same
So
thing with me.
he just took the airport and gave it to somebody else,
Mhm. That's
and there you go. But
that's
it's still and I believe it was another woman, so I hope that she didn't have to deal with what I did
hope
there.
not. Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I don't know if that person is still in that role
Hmm.
or if he's moved on, but yeah, it's not ideal.
No.
I've had my fair share as well.
Hmm.
That's the only instance that really happened to me
Yeah.
at that
Mhm. But
company.
it speaks to it and having to go to someone who doesn't have real empathy for you because they've never experienced it. And that's why I take my role so seriously as a woman leader and try to open up. But and like when I started, there was two other women in the off-premise world, and I expected some kind of like welcoming or something, and I just didn't get it. And I felt like if I had that, like, would I feel differently? And would I feel like I had people I could go to, would have mentorship and all that? And I went without that for a long time, and I feel like I never want anyone else coming up in the world to feel like that. So I always say, "Here's who I am. If you ever need anything, come ask. I don't care if it's something yet I don't know, but I
Right.
will help you get there."
And that's great. And I hope that, the future people at that company can know that and can feel comfortable coming to you, even in any capacity
Hmm.
because, you've been through it and you're there, and you're supportive and you understand what they're going through,
Right.
right? Essentially. And I mean, I never had that either.
Right. Yeah. So, but like I said, it's getting better.
I'm
They're
glad.
putting focus on it. Even our fearless leader way up there in the sky is a like women leadership. We love this. Like, keep it going. So they just have to actually understand what that means instead of just being a champion for it.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I remember when he hired me, he called me and he said, what are you doing Thursday at 3:30? I said, I'm meeting you in your office. And the rest is history. Yeah.
Perfect.
But,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And he's trying very hard too. So he's
and he always does. I mean,
Mhm.
he's always been fair and sweet, and I still talk to him to this day.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I know you're looking for someone for your new thing. So
Yeah. So that might be another conversation.
like such a weird thing to be doing, but super cool.
I know. I had somebody ask me the other day, "Are you done?" Like rolling their eyes. "Are you done selling water yet?" I'm like, "Nope. As a matter of fact, I just started with the new water
Just
company."
started. Yep.
So, yep. Nope. I'm not done with the water, and it's very important. It's a product that we need every day. We need to drink water every day.
Yep,
So
why not have good water?
yeah. So
It's good for you.
So eventually, hopefully soon, I will have an episode where we talk about water. And then you can learn all about what it is that I do. And
This
you can
is
be
not this
fascinated by it.
episode. Well, we're not talking about alcohol for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, but back to Caitlyn.
So I did want to share some alcohol. So I brought the whole lineup here. So this is soju, which is Korean rice neutral spirit.
Okay.
Been around forever. So since the 13th century, they've been making this. They were actually taught by the Mongols when they invaded because they had learned from the Persians what in that war. So they had a ton of rice and they decided to ferment the rice and create this neutral spirit. Started off usually about 35% alcohol by volume. But it's not that strong now.
Okay.
So just like the rest of the industry, sessionable things came into a trend, and they went and they have now it ranges from like 12. These are at 12 to 24%. So
Okay.
not crazy high. But this is Jinro, which is actually in 2019 it became the largest spirit brand in the world. So they sell the most out in the whole world. So yes.
Okay.
But here in the United States, it's just becoming a craze, just like all the other things Korea, like K-pop and K-dramas. And
Right.
And anytime you watch those things, you will see them drinking soju.
Okay.
So should we just get into it?
Let's get into it. Yeah.
All right. Let's start with the lowest and go from there. So they, not too long, but in the past probably like 10 years, they started experimenting with flavored soju. So they have, I brought strawberry, peach, and green grape, which are the top 3 flavors we have.
Okay.
But they are only 12%, and it's just a natural flavoring. So it's not anything super healthy. But
Okay.
we'll give it a try.
Sure.
So this is
This
peach.
is peach?
Peach, yes.
Well, it smells very peachy. Well, for not a natural flavoring, it tastes like a nice ripe peach. It's really good. Normally, I shy away from like artificial peach flavoring. I think I had a bad tequila sunrise experience in my teenage years.
I think most of us have had a bad tequila sunrise experience.
Yeah, just the peach schnapps in there. Just woo.
Yep.
I was on a camping trip when I was 15
Yep.
with my friend Ronnie Blackman and her family. Yeah.
Like got it in nature.
I'll never
too,
forget
like...
it. I was in nature with a bad tequila sunrise experience. All right.
So this one is green grape. So this is the number 2 flavor.
Ooh.
And I know you think grape, and it's like not many grape things really work.
It smells like kind of like a lighter, like what's the grape soda? Like Welch's grape soda?
Yeah.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It is like a Concord grape for sure.
Oh, that's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yummy.
Yep. So it's mostly just drank straight, but they have started to experiment with making cocktails and stuff like that.
That would make an excellent cocktail.
Yes. And then this is the most popular flavor right now. So this is strawberry, which again, most things strawberry flavors are not really that great, but it's surprising for.
Okay. This reminds me of like this lip gloss that I wore when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
It smells like. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
These are very dangerous because, like I said, they are 12%. And traditionally, you just get your little shot glass and you just pour it out.
Right.
And
You don't just sit there and drink it like a beer.
Yep.
Is this a 12-ounce bottle?
375.
Okay. Yeah. So it's half of a wine bottle, guys.
But then you get back to the traditional ones. So they have Jinro is back, which is what it's actually called. And then they have the original, Chamisol, and Jinro 24, which is the highest. We'll say that one for last.
Okay.
The Jinro is back. So these are not fruity at all. So you're going to get the actual neutral spirit flavor. Okay. This one is 16.5%.
Okay.
But this is that has become the most popular because it is more of the traditional way that it was made. And so that's why it's called Jinro's back in the 1920s when this was getting huge in Korea. There's 3,200 distilleries in the area.
You can taste like a slight traces of the alcohol, but it's not like hits you in the face with heat. So yeah, I mean, this is great. And it's clear like water.
Yep. Yes. It's all clear so that it's just the neutral spirit plus whatever flavoring they add.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, they love this one because it is so smooth. So, and then we'll try the original, which is original since about the 60s when they actually had a rice famine in Korea, so they had to start making it from ethanol.
Oh,
which led to some very high proof ones, but then also that's when they started making the more sessionable ones, and how we ended up with this lineup today.
All right.
So that one is the original, and that's just the neutral spirit. They don't do anything to it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Nothing on the nose at all.
And this is what you would have like with dinner, like a sake, basically. But
yeah. So there's a little bit more heat on that one, just slightly, but it's still like very slight. It's not punching you in the face.
Yep,
which is nice.
Yep, and then they have the Chamisol, which is the original, but it's filtered.
Okay,
so you get a little bit more of that smoothness.
I saw the Chamisol on the label, and I thought it was chamomile.
Yes, it definitely was hard to learn all these pronunciations when we first brought this on. So
again, there's nothing on the nose when you smell it. All right, and it is fresh. It says it on the label.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that's really good. Filtered. Yep.
Yeah, it would be very important to tell people if they're drinking that at your house that that's not water, because that could go wrong really quickly.
Yes, and that one is 16.9% also, so can't tell at all. And then this one, I love all of them, but I really do like this one, the 24.
Okay.
It is the strongest, and you can tell.
Okay.
But this one I would make a whiskey cocktail with, basically.
Okay. Just put this in as a mixer, or put this as the whiskey?
Spirit, as the whiskey, yeah.
Okay. Again, nothing on the nose, guys. 0. All right. And again, super smooth. No face punching. Yep. It's great.
Yep.
Wow.
24%, and you wouldn't really think it.
I love learning new things.
Yep. And they actually will use this one or the original or fresh as a bomb. So they'll take Korean beer and do a soju bomb, and you drop it in and chug it just like any other bomb.
All right.
Haven't not tried that one, but it sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting. I haven't had a bomb in years.
Right? So that is soju for you. Soju means burned liquor, which is very original.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, refers to the heat of the distillation. It's also known as noju, which no means dew. So it's the droplets that come down during distillation.
Nice.
So.
Okay. Oh, cool. And where can we are there any like favorite bars that we can go and get a cocktail?
So anything in Chinatown, anything in that area is basically any Asian place is going to have soju for sale. There are quite a few brands here, aside from Jinro, but not near as popular.
Uh-huh.
And I know one of them is actually a vodka spirit, and it's being sued right now for that. So
Oh.
might not be around. And that is actually one of the other most popular ones, but
Mhm.
it's not even soju. So,
Well,
but yeah, and then a lot of retail stores are picking it up now too. 'Cause
there.
they're seeing
Okay,
the
so is
craze.
it
Yep.
like Lee's or
Lee's, Smith's has it now. Target, like a
Okay,
lot of places are seeing what it's doing, and they want in on it. So
great.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I have a friend, Note, who owns a karaoke bar in Chinatown. So if he doesn't already have this,
I'd be surprised.
I'm sure he probably already does because
Yes, when we
he
first
owns
got it.
Ocha Thai
Okay,
on Las
yeah,
Vegas Boulevard also.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that he carries it
Yeah.
at both places.
Oh yeah, we had people calling, going, "You have Jinro now? You have Jinro now?" Because before it was a small distributor that could barely make shipments and would have to do bulk drops and then hope that it got to places.
Right.
But now we have it, so we can do regular deliveries, and
Yeah.
it's been a monster for us. So
Well, that makes me happy.
yeah,
That does. Because I have nothing but good experiences working for that company. And I will continue to be their cheerleader, even though I don't work there anymore,
yeah,
And it's great. It's fine because
yeah,
I'm definitely thriving. But I mean, hopefully, hopefully soon
yeah. That
we
would be
can
awesome.
collaborate and
Hmm.
we'll see how that works
Right.
out.
Yeah.
So episode 3, 4, 5 now. Not in 1 and 2. We discussed our gateway, like what's your first alcohol memory as a child and then as a teenager?
My parents actually met working for one of the big three distributors, not the one that I work for, so
Mhm.
one of our main competitors.
Okay.
They were both in sales.
Okay.
And so, you might say I was born to do this.
You
But
were.
yes.
Literally.
But there was always alcohol around the house. And my first memory of trying it, I think I was 4, and I thought it was a glass of water on the counter, and it was small. It was obviously meant for someone small like me.
Yes.
So I took a sip, and then I cried and cried and cried because I had tried my first vodka,
Oh.
and it was horrible.
Uh-huh.
And then and then my dad was always like, "Hey, you want to try this beer?" And he drank Newcastle, which was not the best beer to try. So it was definitely like, "This is what you're drinking all the time. Why would you do this?"
But Newcastle's good.
It is, yes, it is when you have an acquired taste of beer, but
Yes.
definitely not as the first beer you've ever tried.
No.
But then I think my first teenage memory of actually getting drunk, I went into my parents' liquor cabinet and I had Captain Morgan. And I do not get along with rum anymore.
Oh,
So,
I don't get along with rum. The sugar content is way too high.
mhm,
I don't really have a lot of sugar.
yeah.
Really? So, I mean, for me, that's just like, I just know if I'm going to have rum, number one, in the middle of the night when your liver's trying to process all that sugar, I will wake up and be wide awake,
Mhm.
A, and B, I will have a significant hangover the next day.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
But then, of course, once I was starting to drink all the time, the go-to in our group was Southern Comfort, which was a horrible
Oh,
mistake, and
oh.
and I can't even smell that without having to walk away. So,
I was laughing at your vodka story. I have a similar one.
mhm.
So I was 3, and my dad, he wasn't a big drinker. He drank more when I was very, very small. And he had 3 shot glasses on the table and he was trying out 3 different whiskeys. I think it was like Crown, Jack, and something else.
Mhm.
And they were shot glasses and it looked like Coca-Cola. And the phone rang and he got up from the dining table and left these 3 shots sitting there and went to go answer the phone. And I said, "Oh, he's got, this is, like you said, it's a little glass. Obviously this is meant for me." So I threw the whole thing back. I
Oof.
just shot it. And I was sitting in the dining chair. The chair tipped back. I fell down it knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe. I'm like,
Oh, no.
gasping for air. My dad comes in. He's like, what? And then he sees the empty shot glass. He's like, oh, no.
Oh, no. I can't believe you still like alcohol after that.
Well, I'm not a big whiskey drinker.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Never. Yeah, I'm more of a vodka girl if I'm going to have spirits.
Yeah.
You know, I like more of a clear whiskey. Occasionally I'll have a G&T, but, you know, I keep it real simple.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not even a really big drinker anymore. So
Right.
it's just life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not in a
Just
sales
happens.
meeting where I have to drink wine at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, don't you miss that though?
No, I don't. Well, I take it back. It depends on the wine.
Okay. The wine is one thing. It's when they line up the shots of tequila
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock in the
that one,
morning.
ooh.
Yeah. Tequila for
Uh-huh.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when we kicked off Jinro and we tried the whole lineup and everyone was like, wow, this is really good. And just sipping without thinking about it. And by the end of that kickoff, like we were like, okay, everybody chill for a little while. Nobody drive yet. And no one wants to openly admit
Right.
like I'm feeling tipsy.
Uh-huh.
But we all were. We
Yeah.
all knew it.
All right. Well, if there's anything else you want to talk about, if not, we're just going to wrap it up.
All right.
But thank you so much for coming. I had the best time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was super fun.
I'm Tracy Bradley, and that's the Thirst Trap Podcast. Produced and edited by Gonzo Greg Spillane for Noise Department. Our theme music is composed and performed by Jose Torres. Please like and subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcasts and share with your friends and associates in the beverage industry or anybody who drinks things. You can always visit and contact me at thirsttrappodcast.com, and you can find links to all the socials there as well. Till next time, cheers.